Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. 6 games to go, 2 teams on 57 points, Arsenal and Spurs, and we are facing an absolutely fantastic race for 4th place between Arsenal, Arteta and Conte, Spurs. And at times I feel that the yo-yo effect of these two teams, you could say it's a battle of who wants to be the shittest. But to be honest with you, I think when you look at Spurs and you look at Arsenal, the work that Arteta and Conte have done is outstanding. Conte probably easier to say because of what he's done with his career. Arsenal, I mean, I don't want to say it, but I feel like sometimes I'm speaking positively about a rival manager who manages a club where I want him to fail more than fans of his own club. Because I think what he's done is outstanding. And I think that there will be detractors who say, well, look at how many times they bottle it, this, that and the other. But the benchmark is Manchester United. The benchmark is top 4. Manchester United, Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool at the start of the season had top 4 locked down. And fair play, Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool have basically done that. United have opened up the door. And deservedly, teams like Spurs, Arsenal and maybe even West Ham are walking in through past Manchester United and saying, see you later. But look at the resources they've got. And I'm not talking about financial capabilities as in the summer. I'm talking about when the season started and the transfer window closes. Look at the squads. Manchester United brought in Sancho, Varane and Ronaldo to a team that comfortably finished second. Arteta did bring players in. Spurs had a different manager at the start of the season, but nothing to the extent of what Manchester United did. And yet here we are, and it is basically Spurs against Arsenal for 4th place. Now, if Man United get 4th place, I ain't going to call Conte or Arteta outstanding. I'm going to call them absolute bottle jobs. But where they are at the moment, one of those two clubs, and they've got an amazing game coming up in the middle of May, are in pole position to get top 4. And I think that, first of all, starting with Arsenal, it's been a constant battle almost with... And I said this on the show last night. I've noticed this quite a lot. I've been in these conversations with some brands where they go, can you come and do a video with such and such? And basically, we'll give you the topic to argue about. And we're just really looking for something controversial. And then you do the video and then they contact you and they say, can you quote tweet the video so people watch it? And you expose yourself as a prat twice because basically you're talking about something that you really probably wouldn't normally talk about. And actually you're just doing it because you're being paid to give a controversial opinion. And some of these stupid opinions that we see are, Arteta's a crap manager. He shouldn't be managing Arsenal. They shouldn't get in the Champions League because he's not a Champions League manager. He's a Championship manager. And there are some Arsenal fans who believe this. And I'm all for opinion, and some people just don't take to a manager. They don't take to a player. That's absolutely fine. But if you look at Arsenal and you look at Arteta's journey, it's been very clear from day one what the journey was. And I don't want to bore people repeating it, but this is a guy who sat next to Pep Guardiola for a few years. And he wasn't there to put the cones out, he was there to coach. So he's got a good understanding of good football. And if you don't see that, just go and watch the Chelsea game last night and watch the goal that Smith Rowe scores, the first one. It's a team goal. It's a principled goal. It's about keeping the ball on the ground. It's about being patient and not panicking. And it's a great team goal. And they've scored a few goals like that this season. And Arsenal's attack this year is one of the best attacks in the league for the players that they've got. Because they haven't got Salah and Mane. They haven't got Foden and De Bruyne. They've got young lads like Saka, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Martinelli. And they've got no striker. And yet they can still really cause problems on the attack. And that's down to those players, of course. But it's also down to Arteta. And he's built something there. And I think again against Chelsea last night, they're 3 losses in a row and everyone thinks it's going to be 4 because Chelsea are a good side. They beat Chelsea because they deserved to beat Chelsea. Chelsea weren't at their best, but Arsenal still went to Stamford Bridge and they beat them. And they beat them because Arteta showed again he can be adaptive. When you look at Arteta in his first few games and his first few months at Arsenal, he basically played a back 5. He tried not to concede goals and nick a goal, and they won an FA Cup like that. And people don't like this brand of football, but it was very obvious he was coming into a team that it was about survival. It was about his survival, and it was about getting results. He was never going to be a back 5 coach, but he didn't have the players and he didn't have the time to go in there and play expansive football and get stuffed every week. And people go, let's keep him. He had to get results. He won an FA Cup. And then gradually he's brought his players in. Gradually he's got rid of the players he doesn't want. Gradually he's building and developing youth, and now Arsenal are a team that this season they are fighting for 4th place. They've got 57 points and they're in joint 4th. This time last year, at the end of the season, they had 61 points and they finished 8th. 6 points off fourth. I think fourth place was 67 points last year, or 69 points. So the gap isn't that big. They've got 57 points. They've got 6 games left to play. They're going to eclipse what they did last year. That's an improvement. Their team is playing better than last year. That's an improvement. The problem you've got is that the media, certain Arsenal fans, they're impatient. They want to be proved right. But the reality is, it's very obvious through gritted teeth that the improvement at Arsenal is clearly happening. And if they keep investing, then they're going to keep improving. And what I will say is, and I'll say it again, why they didn't get a striker in January, I don't know. If you had got a striker in January, I think you'd have top 4 nailed down. Because you're doing it with a young lad in Nketiah, and you're doing it with a player who's a lack of threat in Lacazette. So Arsenal, and also you've lost both your fullbacks, you've lost your best CDM, and you've not really fell off massively. I think they've won 7 of their last 11 games. Yes, they've lost 4, but Arsenal have got this great trait of, if they lose a game, or they lose 2 games, they'll surround it with wins. They've been doing that. They lost the first three games of the season. They don't draw. And if you don't draw, losing a game's not terrible. Losing 2 games ain't terrible if you go and win. They lost to Southampton at the weekend. They had over 70% possession. They had loads of shots. It was just a bit of an oddity that they lost. But they bounced back with a win against Chelsea. Huge game against United at the weekend. You then look at Spurs, who they're competing with as well. And saying that Conte is an outstanding coach is not a hot take, is it? You know, everyone's going to agree with that. But I also think, I look back to Spurs and I remember watching them play against Southampton at home and Wolves at home. They got beat, and they got beat well. And I was like, I think Conte was sort of hinting that this might not be the job for him. And you watched it and you went, I don't think it is. But then they've hit some form. And as a United fan, I've just watched us not hit form this season. We've just never bounced back. But I'm very impressed with what Arteta's done, as I said, because after 3 losses in a row, he goes to Stamford Bridge, he tries something tactically different, and they totally deserve to win. That shows a team and a set of players that you can lose a game, but we're with the manager, we're going to work hard for the manager. And I think that's replicated at Spurs, who are renowned for being bottle jobs and never should have appointed Nuno. Kulusevski and Bentancur being brought in January, if they didn't bring those players in, like United did no business in January, Arsenal did no business in January, Arsenal have done pretty well without doing business. If Spurs hadn't bought Kulusevski and Bentancur, I don't think they'd be in a top 4 race. So you've got to give credit for Conte getting those players in and Spurs actually backing him. If they get top 4, they can look back at January and say that was pivotal. But in addition to that, some of the football they've played, some of the results they've pulled in when, you know, a lot of people had written them off for top 4, they've got themselves back in. Yes, they lost to Brighton, so did Arsenal. There are some good teams in this league that can cause a shock when you don't want it to happen. Palace destroyed Arsenal a couple of weeks ago. They deserve to win. They've then gone and lost at Newcastle. It's the way the league is. But they're now in this head-to-head position now. Spurs at Brentford, United going to Arsenal. Who's going to get over the line? I don't know. But I think that it's almost... I wanted to say I think they've both done great jobs as managers in very difficult circumstances, but ultimately the bottom line is whoever misses out on top 4 between Arteta and Conte is not going to get the credit they deserve for this season, because ultimately it's a high stakes game, and it's a very high stakes game now. That 4th spot wasn't meant to be there. I predicted Arsenal would finish 5th and I got laughed at. They could well finish 5th and people could be saying get rid of the manager, because that's how fickle and tight this race is going to be. It's bad enough missing out on 4th place when you're in a 4th place race, but if you miss out on it to Spurs, or if you miss out on it to Arsenal if you're Spurs, this rivalry is big. And it basically is Spurs against Arsenal for 4th place. It's a motivator, but it's a devastator if it doesn't work. Who do I think will get it? I don't know. I think Spurs look stronger and have got a better attack, and goals win prizes. But Arsenal have shown something against Chelsea last night that shows that they're up for the fight. I did a video on this channel about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, looking through the fixtures, and it actually came out with Spurs, and I got loads of pelters. People were like, there's no way Spurs will finish above United, there's no way they'll finish above Arsenal. I'm going to still stick with that prediction. I still think Spurs will do it. But they could lose their next 3, and Arsenal could win their next 3. It's been an up and down race. 3 weeks ago, I thought Arsenal had it laid down. A week ago, I thought Spurs had it laid down. Now it's neck and neck, and they've got to play each other, of course, in mid-May. I think much will come down to how many more points Arsenal drop because of injuries. They're missing Partey, they're missing a striker, which they never had, And obviously they're missing fullbacks, and they could pick up more injuries. So I think for Arsenal, if they don't get top 4, it won't be because of Arteta, it won't be because of the players, it'll be because their squad just wasn't quite ready, which is what a lot of people thought. They're still a work in progress. If Spurs miss out, I think it will be because of Spurs and their ability to somehow throw away positions that you think they can't throw away. They've got a better run in Spurs, but they're capable of losing to anyone. So I'm very interested. But I think the bottom line is that Conte's a great coach, and we know that, and he's done a great job at Spurs, especially in the last few weeks. Arteta deserves credit at Arsenal. Will he ever get it? I don't know. I think he's an easy person to attack, but I think it's an easy person to defend because he's not had an open checkbook. He's got rid of egos in that club that my club won't get rid of those egos. If we've got an Aubameyang and an Ozil and people like that, we wouldn't get rid of them. That's not the United way. We'll keep them because they're expensive. And he's developed youth really well. He's got them playing a really good brand of football. And as I said, I think one of the most impressive things about Arteta is his ability to adapt to situations and not panic. And also, if he does lose a couple of games, he goes and wins a couple of games as well. As I said, it makes your league form a lot better if you don't draw games. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. Big weekend of sport on this channel as well. We've got the Fury fight for you. We've got the Formula 1. We've got the Merseyside derby. So make sure you smash a like and subscribe. And I'll speak to you on the next one.